Thanks, Ananja. I'll take it from here. Hello, my name is Ananja, and I'm going to tell you about mosquito population and its impacts on the ecosystem and urban setups. So, to talk about this topic, we need to understand how it's evolved over time. So mosquitoes have been roaming the earth for around 100 million years, and they're attracted to warm and humid places. It's hypothesized that during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, the first ever versions of these insects would form around animal nests and went from feeding off of flesh to blood found in scab wounds. Through research, we have found that female mosquitoes are the only ones who actually bite human beings because they need the nutrients from our blood in order to lay eggs. Males, on the other hand, can survive off of eating plant sap, nectar, and sugars from other plants in order to obtain the energy that they need to survive. An urban setup is a great habitat for female mosquitoes because there's plenty of humans around and little to no threat of predators. You might be wondering what people have done to further their understanding. The main scientists that are in charge of looking at mosquitoes are entomologists. Entomologists are people who study insects. Entomologists and biologists do extensive research in order to familiarize themselves with mosquitoes so that they can understand how to control the mosquito population and ways to kill a certain amount. You might be wondering, why did people start thinking about this? Well, mosquitoes have been involved in human history for millenniums, and different types of groups use different techniques to try to keep them away. The Egyptians had a tightly woven cloth called linen that used to keep mosquitoes from being able to penetrate their skin. Indigenous peoples had, they would rub mud on themselves to keep mosquitoes away and also would light fires. It's something that we have to think about because these tiny creatures can cause a lot of misfortune, which is not often thought about in countries where mosquito-borne diseases are rare or not a huge issue. We must remember that they affect the human population greatly and are a huge issue. This is why there are people who are working at reducing and controlling the mosquito population and conducting experiments to further our knowledge of these pesky creatures. What are the past and present technologies? Well, repellents are one of them, such as this, or OFF, which is another brand. This has a chemical in it called DEET, or N,N-diethylmetatoluamide, which is the chemical that keeps mosquitoes away. And it's very effective, and it doesn't harm them, but keeps them away from human beings. Fogging is another effective technology used to combat mosquitoes. It is an adulticide which is targeted towards adult or fully grown mosquitoes. It's a contact chemical, and there's a period of time where you're not allowed in the place where the adulticide has been applied. It's used in disease-carrying mosquitoes that spread Zika virus or West Nile virus. Although this is not the most suggested chemical to use, because of its harming properties, larvicide is a much better alternative, and it's used in a much earlier stage in their life cycle. It's used when they are in larval form, and it's used to attack the problem before it starts. And it's also less harmful to human beings, as well as the area that's applied in.
How does adulticide kill mosquitoes?
Well, adulticide kills mosquitoes through contact. As soon as a mosquito comes in contact with adulticide, it dies instantly. As for effects on human beings, it does not cause acute illness, but it can lead to chronic illness or allergies.
Wow!
How have these technologies affected economic activities, the environment, and the health and well-being of the community? Well, for economic activity, the more that they use pesticides, the more funds that they need in order to use it inside the city. They send out technical assistants to do surveys and sprays requiring money. Millions of dollars are used in insect control per year. The community tax dollar goes into it. Larvicide, made of biological, or BTI, has no impact because it's very safe, but adulticide is very harmful to anything it comes in contact with. It's made of delta methrin. Adulticide affects the environment by reducing the biodiversity of insects. Other populations of other insects are also reduced. The human population in a colder climate deals with the nuisance of it, but warmer countries have to deal with the dengue or Zika virus and many other viruses caused by mosquitoes. It's important to learn about mosquitoes because of all the deadly diseases that they might carry. But why would you listen to what I have to say on that matter? Let's talk to a professional.
Hello everyone. My name is Jaspreet, and I'm Ann Jode's auntie and mentor as well. Mosquito control is very important because, first of all, it affects our day-to-day activities, daily life activities. As we go outside, we play outside in summers, we go camping, and we do gardening. Then yeah, it causes mosquitoes cause lots of nuisance. We can't play outside sometimes when there are like swarms of mosquitoes around us. So it causes mainly in Manitoba. Most mosquitoes cause nuisance, but there are also some mosquitoes which cause West Nile virus. They are pathogen carriers. They cause diseases as well. And there are some other mosquitoes in other parts of the world which cause many deadly diseases as well. So I think mosquito control is very important, and it should be conducted properly. The most prevalent virus carried by mosquitoes in Manitoba is West Nile virus. West Nile virus mainly causes fever or rashes, etc. But in some cases, it can cause some rare complications as well. And some older people or some people who have weak immunity, for them it can be deadly as well, but it's very rare. The other important viruses are pathogens are Zika virus. Its main effect is infants born with a small brain. That's called microcephaly. This is the most important symptom, and the other symptoms are fever for like adults. It just causes fever, joint pain, and red eyes. Other one is dengue. This fever is it can be often deadly, um, and it causes hemorrhagic fever, where the white blood cells drop suddenly, like they drop to very low level, and it can be deadly as well. The other one is uh, the virus, the pathogen which causes malaria. Malaria's symptoms are fever, headache, vomiting, and this pathogen is widespread. Actually, like half of it, it's said that half of the world's population is at risk of this virus, but it's not prevalent in North America. But it's very common in Africa and other Asian countries. Um, the other one is yellow fever. As the name indicates, it causes jaundice. So, other than these pathogens, there are many more other pathogens as well, but these are the main pathogens which are carried by different species of mosquitoes. And they can be deadly, and they are very important to have proper control measures to control these deadly mosquito populations. Thank you. There are some challenges in mosquito control. The first challenge I can talk about is their fast spread. So they can multiply really fast when the conditions are conducive, when it's hot and humid outside, and after a rain event. They can multiply really fast. Like one mosquito can lay like hundreds of eggs. So only one female mosquito. So you can imagine how fast they can multiply, how fast they can spread if they're not controlled. The solution, the potential solution for this could be proper weather forecasting, and then staffing arrangements according to the weather. So when there is a rain event coming up, like heavy rain coming up, then before that, um, the surveillance and larviciding. Larviciding is killing at larval stage. That can be done quickly with proper staffing. So the second challenge I can talk about is the second challenge is inaccessibility of the breeding mosquito breeding sites. Some breeding sites are like deep in the bushes, so humans like we cannot go that far in the bushes, so they remain unidentified. Mosquitoes from those breeding grounds can fly anywhere, and they can cause nuisance or they can cause diseases if they carry virus. So their potential solution could be use of technology, use of drones for aerial mapping. So that can be done. The third um, is the third challenge is chemical use. Some people don't like chemical use; they are against it because some people are allergic, or even like some normal people, if they don't practice hygiene practices properly, then they can also get some side effects from the chemicals used. They can even get some chronic illnesses. Um, for example, we used to use malathion before. That is non-selective, so it can kill mosquitoes and other organisms as well, and it affects humans' health as well. But like some, its potential solution could be using first of all, you larviciding, like use do as much larvicide as possible so that you don't have to adulticide. You don't have to kill the adults because larvicide we use is very safe. It is really like it's specific to only mosquito larvae. It doesn't affect anything else. So larvicide as much as possible. And the second option, if it gets out of control, if even then we have to adulticide, we have to use adulticide, then use the safer alternatives. These days, City of Winnipeg uses delta metron, which is comparatively safe. And some people also use buffer zones. They register their houses as buffer zones. So those houses are skipped when the spray crews fog around the streets. Those can be some potential solutions to those challenges. For life sciences, we should know mosquito biology, their mosquito species, and what pathogens they transmit to, so that we control the mosquito populations effectively. If they are disease causing mosquitoes, if they are virus carrying mosquitoes, then there are different control measures to be taken, rather comparatively to those if they are only nuisance causing. So there are some thresholds setups for mosquito populations. City of Winnipeg or other cities, they set up their own thresholds. So life sciences can be used in that way. And geoscience technologies are used to map the breeding grounds of mosquitoes. As I told earlier, drones can be used for aerial mapping of some breeding sites for mosquitoes. And also buffer zone mapping can also be done by GIS and geosciences. So we can mark buffer zones using the geosciences. And mechanical science is used for making, maintenance, and operation of sprayers and other equipment, and use of drones and helicopters for surveillance and for spraying the insecticide is also useful. Like mechanical science is used in that way.